Rather than lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Thank you so much for watching the podcast, and thank you so much for dropping that like button. It really means a lot. Yesterday, it was 166. The target was 120. Can we get this video to 100 likes? This is the podcast where we discuss all matters Arsenal. We bring on rival fans, we bring on Arsenal fans to discuss everything at Arsenal. And of course, I give you the latest update in terms of Arsenal transfers, Arsenal news, Arsenal injuries, everything. So make sure you reward me with that simple like button. Just that. Let's get the party started. We're going to be speaking Thomas Partey, Saka, injury updates, Mikel Arteta's squad. William Saliba is known one of the players that will be playing regularly for Arsenal. He has already been told that by Arsenal. That is crazy. We also talk about Nicola Pepe's future at Arsenal, and also the fact that a CM has been a priority for Arsenal for almost now 3 transfer windows, and we have actually not dealt with the issue. According to David Onstein, I'm going to be breaking those stories and expanding them, expanding on them a little bit more. Right, to start off with the injury update, Bukayo Saka did pick up an injury against Manchester United. Mikel Arteta's words were that the player actually picked up the injury in the first half, but then decided to move on to the second half with the injury. That was a little bit ridiculous for me, considering the fact that Gabriel Martinelli was on the bench, and Saka had already done a great job in the first half. I thought probably if a player has picked up an injury, a player who's tired, a player who's exhausted, and a player who is so important to Arsenal, just like Bukayo Saka, then I thought Martinelli could have come on for Saka, but of course, according to Mikel, the player insisted on remaining on the pitch. He insisted that he wanted to play, and then the injury a little bit got worse. But according to reliable sources and reports, Saka will be available for our next game against West Ham. It doesn't look very, very bad. Now, what I think about this situation, lads, and I've told you this in my match reactions, I think Saka is playing with injuries, and even against West Ham in the upcoming in the upcoming London derby, he will play with an injury, and that is something that I do not really. I'm not on the positive side of it. I'm not really on the positive side of it, because look, I personally want Saka to play every game, but I also want him to be fit. I also want him to be, I really care about his health, because look, if you keep on playing him with injuries, you're gonna have a Marcus Rashford situation on your hands. A player who is so good plays with injuries, gets exhausted, and then they literally, suffer from burnout, they suffer from injuries, and look, for a player like Saka who's on a very good run, the moment they don't play for 1 or 2 3 weeks, that is where the problem is. And I understand what Mikel Arteta is trying to do. He doesn't want to end his good spell, right? He wants him to continue on that good run, and I do understand everything about that, but also we've got to think about the health of the player. He's young, we are relying on him so much, and playing him with injuries is gonna cost us, and it will cost him eventually. Now, also moving on to Thomas Partey, the doctors have reported that Partey will be out of this Arsenal squad and match day vibes for weeks. But according to the latest stories and news we are getting, Thomas Partey could be back for Arsenal as early as possible. Now, there is no definite date confirming when he's gonna come back and when we can have him, but the reports indicate that he's actually recovering very, very fast, and Arsenal will have him as soon as possible, probably before the end of the season. For Thomas Partey, even in this West Ham game, I think it would be very, very crucial, because if you look at that West Ham side, Declan Rice and Thomas Susek, that is a pivot that is no joke. That's a really, really, really difficult pivot. Of course, if you add the likes of Said Ben Rahma, Pablo Fornals, Jared Bowen, into that midfield mix, Manuel Lanzini, it's not an easy side. It's not an easy West Ham side. So I'd love to, I would have loved to have Thomas Partey in there already, but of course he cannot make it. Maybe for the North London derby, as we take on West Ham and Leeds, we can keep a little bit more patient, because that week that is starting with West Ham, Leeds, and then Spurs. Wow. No, is it West Ham Spurs Leeds? I think it's West Ham Leeds Spurs, right? Yeah, West Ham, Leeds, Spurs. Actually, it's gonna be 3 games in 1 week. We'll have to play Leeds, Tottenham in midweek, and I think Newcastle over the weekend. So it's gonna be 3 games within a space of 8 days. It's gonna be very, very compact. And I just wish Thomas Partey could be back for the North London derby. We've seen his training videos. I mean, trying to work out so hard. And it's not the first time we will have seen a player come back ahead of schedule for Arsenal this season. Granit Xhaka, you remember the injury he got at the beginning of the season. It really came back very, very earlier, much earlier than we expected. So we expect Partey and we expect Saka to all be back as soon as possible. Now moving into what is loitering around my club in terms of who comes in, who goes. David Ornstein has come out and said Arsenal have actually always wanted a central midfielder, and this has been on the cards for transfer windows. In the previous summer, we wanted a central midfielder. In this summer, we want a central midfielder. But also in the summer when we signed Thomas Partey, I think that was 2019-2020, was it? 2019-2020. We also wanted a central midfielder. And now he said that it is more likely that this summer that deal will be done. And he's pointed to a couple of players. At the moment, he's pointed at Yuri Tillemans, really admired by Mikel Arteta. And he's also pointed to Ruben Neves. But one thing he has said, and I'm going to quote him, he said, a central midfielder has been on the agenda for quite some time, for quite some while. The sort of a #6, #8 may be someone who can operate in both roles. There's been links and admiration for Ruben Neves, Yuri Tillemans, and a number of others. David Ornstein, as per The Athletic. So, according to David Ornstein, Arsenal are much interested in getting in a central midfielder. For a while now, that deal, that admiration has been on the cards, and it looks like Yuri Tillemans and Ruben Neves are the two front runners. According to some reports, we have already contacted the agents of both players. We have held talks with George Mendes. I do not know the agent, and I don't remember the name of the agent of Yuri Tillemans, but what I can say is that he came around at the Emirates, and that was reported by Chris Whitley in January. Came around at the Emirates. It's going to be very, very tight competition for Yuri Tillemans in the summer. Top clubs want him. Juve, Liverpool, United, all those clubs are interested in him. And of course, Ruben Neves as well. He might be moving in the summer, according to Wolves. And Bruno Lage did come out and say, look, it's going to be a big loss for us. But one thing we know, it's not going to be an easy battle for us not to win. Barca in there, United are in there. All those clubs are interested in these huge top class signings. But of course, I think it's a positive for me. It's a very, very huge positive that Arsenal can now confirm that we'll be going for a central midfielder in the summer. I'm not really one person who thinks Xhaka has had a bad season, but I want to see better. I've told you that. That is one of the areas on the Arsenal pitch that we can massively upgrade the central midfield, just like the striking line, just like the right back situation, just like that backup left back situation. There's so many areas we can upgrade in the summer. So let's see. And of course, Eduardo Hagan has also been speaking about Arsenal's ability to spend in the summer, and of course the availability of finances and our financial position in come the summer as a whole. And he has said Arsenal are in great place financially this summer. Healthy wage bill and potentially Champions League money to come in. We can overtake high money operations if we want to. This has the potential to be one of the most exciting windows in years. And I'm really not going to lie, about Eduardo Hagan. He's one of the journalists that I think is cropping up. He got a lot of stick in January for reporting wrongly about Dusan Vlahovic. I do not know if he reported wrongly, because if you look at the stories he was publishing, many of the other outlets were also believing them to be true. Just like, I think the only thing that let him down was the player deciding that I'll play for Juve, I'll go to Juve, I'll stay in the Italian Serie A, and I will not move abroad. But all the stories, the bids, and the confirmations, everything he said about Dusan Vlahovic, for me, it was true. But Arsenal fans, they don't trust you if you say Dusan Vlahovic has agreed personal terms and then he doesn't sign eventually. They don't agree with you. I mean, I've told you, time in, time out, transfers are not career mode. These are real transfers. This is not career mode where you just shift players. It's not shifting players. It is buying players, and there's so many factors at interplay. You have players where a player wants to play, the amount of money, Champions League football, Europa League football. You have the agent, you have agent fees, you have agent commissions. You have so many things playing, and at times you can be screwed. But so Eddie Hogan says that at the moment, if you think about it, Arsenal do have a very, very great financial position in which they are going into the summer. If we can get into Champions League football, you have that money coming in. But also, we have sorted out our wage bill. Our highest earner at the club, one of the highest earners at the club, Alexander Lacazette, will be leaving in the summer. And if you look at the likes of Ozil, Socrates, and Ainsley, all those players that have been earning huge wages. Of course, Ainsley not part of them, but the likes of Ozil, the likes of David Lewis, the likes of Willian, all those players that were earning huge wages have actually been cut off the squad. It looks like Arsenal can now go in the summer confidently that they can offer anyone good money, like 200k per week. I think we are in position to do that. 250k per week. I think we are also in position to do that. So that is great work to trim the squad by Edu and Mikel Arteta. But also, since we didn't spend much money, or we didn't spend any money in January, and we are also looking at a couple of players moving out of the door, moving out of the window, the likes of Nicola Pepe and others. Arsenal will have the money to spend. According to Edu Gaspar, Arsenal's technical director, it looks like Stan Kroenke has already endorsed the plan, and he says, "I'm excited." Now, it's not like Josh Kroenke who told us, "Be excited." No, for him, he says he is excited about this summer. And probably there is a reason for us to be excited because Gabriel Jesus is going to be coming in. And I'm going to be, just a moment, hit the like button for me. I'm going to be dropping my scout report today. Is coming out for Gabriel Jesus. Very, very researched, in-depth analysis of the player. And later, I think, look, I will see if time allows. We'll look at how he fits into Arsenal, the way we play and the way he loves to play. So Edu Hogan believes that Arsenal are in a very, very good financial situation to buy in players. Do you agree with him? I mean, I would love to know. Now, the last two stories I would love to talk about will be about Saliba and Nicola Pepe. And part of the squad that Mikel Arteta wants. Now, according to reports, according to The Athletic, Mikel Arteta would want to have a 22-man squad with 3 goalkeepers. But in that 22-man squad, Le Groove have come out and said William Saliba will be part of that squad. However, listen to this. Le Groove are saying Arsenal, William Saliba will be part of the 22-man squad that Mikel Arteta would love to have at the club. Of course, I think it's going to be 5 substitutions starting next season, so you can have that 22-man squad, and especially the fact that we're going to have so many homegrown players, and we already have so many of them in Ben White, Emile Smith-Rowe, Saka, Ramsdale. You have so many of these homegrown players that you don't need to register them as part of your squad. They can be part of the under-23s. They can be, they're just homegrown, so they can play for you, without being registered as part of your squad. And that's what Mikel Arteta is looking at. Bring in more homegrown players to make your squad a little bit, flexible. To just have those numbers, to just have that kind of, squad depth. But the problem is that Mikel Arteta is convinced and will commit to the centre-back pairing between Gabriel Magalhaes and Ben White. So it looks like William Saliba's demands of regular game time, regular first-team football are not going to be realized anytime soon. Unless Gabriel or Ben White falls off a cliff in terms of form or in terms of... I think it's just in terms of form because the quality of those two is undisputed. It's undisputed. The potential they have is also undisputed. So it's going to be about can Arsenal really now, fix Saliba into that into that starting 11, or is it actually going to work? Now, according to League Group, they're also saying, and this is crazy, they're also saying that Arsenal will not be stopped if the right offer comes in on the table for the player. Now, I don't know what the right offer is with the player remaining with 2 years on his contract. Arsenal paid over 30 million euros for his signature in the summer of 2019-2020. It looks like 50 million would do the deal of 45. Now, for me, lads, I don't have a problem with Arsenal making a profit, 15 million, 20 million profit on William Saliba. But my problem is that this is doing good work and then you undo it. Buying in players like Gabriel and Ben White, it was a sign of where this process and where this project is heading. But then Saliba was one of the first players, was one of the key, not pillars of the project, but was one of the first, stones to be thrown onto that project. The moment we get rid of that stone, it shows that we may be unsure of how we're going to handle this project, because the conflicting loyalties are always going to be there. Saliba or Ben White. You could bring in a Martin Odegaard, Emil Smith-Rowe or Martinelli, Pepe or Saka. Those conflicting loyalties are always going to be there. But what you have to do, you've got to stand your ground and say, player ABC is important to us, and we are not going to let him go. So for me, lads, you know my point on William Saliba on this podcast. If you're new to the podcast, I think Saliba should be incorporated in the Arsenal squad as soon as possible, and he should be captain in the Europa League. That is crazy, isn't it? Yeah, but he should be captain in the Europa League. Make him feel important. Make him feel wanted. That's the only thing I'm gonna ask for, from Arsenal. And then lastly, lads, is Nicola Pepe. Arsenal are ready to cash in on Nicola Pepe. I will do a video just 7 minutes about Nicola Pepe, his career at Arsenal, where I think he's failed at Arsenal and where he should go, because I think, look, I'm one of those people who have been very, very harsh on Nicola Pepe, and to some extent I think it's been ridiculous. It's been bullshit that I've been so hard on him. Yes, I don't think he's performed to the levels, to the standards where Arsenal want him to perform, but he doesn't deserve all the stick I've given him. So Arsenal in the upcoming summer, are ready to cash in on him with players like Cody Gakpo, Rafinha, Richarlison, all ready to replace him, according to reports. Now, with Pepe, one thing I'm going to say, son, go to AC Milan. I think there is a project there, and the Italian league has just provided itself as a rescue point. Wow. And I think a point of redemption, a league of redemption. We've seen the likes of Tammy Abraham going out there, the likes of Henrik Mkhitaryan going there, and they've really, really done well. So one thing that Pepe would love about the Italian Serie A. By the way, let me tell you something. Yesterday I was really amazed. I was looking at the most valuable leagues in the world. The Championship, according to the Transfer Market website, the Championship is valued at 1.22 billion, and then the Italian Serie A is valued at 1.25 billion. I mean, it's crazy. I think I didn't understand that. I thought the Italian Serie A would be around 3.5 billion, but right. But why I think Nicola Pepe should move to AC Milan and the Italian Serie A, the level of football there is okay for him as a player. I think he can cope up, but also I think there is also this kind of easy rate and slow rate of football. It's like they're playing tournament football over there. I don't think it is as fast, as quick, and hectic and physical and demanding as the Premier League. I don't want him to go back to the Italian Serie, to the French League A, because I feel like in the French League A, unless you're playing for PSG, you don't need to be playing anywhere else. I'm sorry, I'm not going to call it the Farmers League, but I'm just sorry, right? So for me, the places for him to go, it is Italy and Spain, or else stay in the Premier League at West Ham. That is my opinion about Nicola Pepe. But how much should we get in Nicola Pepe, and how excited are you about the return of that duo, Thomas Partey and Bukayo Saka? There is one request I'm gonna make. Please watch that video that I'm going to put out on Gabriel Jesus. It's going to explain why he is a good player despite the fact that he's not scored 20 goals in any campaign, and why I think he will become a goal monster. Speak to you in the next one.